Moscow's threatening military movement has sparked concern that Russia may be preparing to invade Ukraine again. What can Europe and the US do to keep Putin from another military invasion of Ukraine? Make sure to stay till the end to find out. After the Soviet Union collapsed, NATO expanded and eventually took in most of the European nations that had been in the communist circle. The Baltic republics of Lithuania and Latvia, which were once parts of the Soviet Union, joined NATO, as did Poland and Romania. Then an alliance created to counter the Soviets moved hundreds of miles bordering Russia. In 2008, it claimed that it planned to enroll in Ukraine, though that is still seen as a far-off prospect. This indeed feels like a scene from the Cold War that an unpredictable Russian leader is amassing tanks and troops on a neighbor's border, the threat of a bloody East-West conflagration. However, what seems like a difficult time from a bygone era is now front and center in global affairs. After a meeting with European leaders on February 11th, the US warned that Russia could start a full-scale takeover of Ukraine the following week. The days passed without any action, but Russia and the US offered two different versions of the ground surrounding Ukraine. Putin described the Soviet disintegration as a chaos that robbed Russia of its rightful place. He spent 22 years in power rebuilding Russia's military and reasserting the political influence. Moreover, Putin calls NATO's expansion threatening, and the idea of Ukraine joining it an existential threat to Russia. As Russia has grown more assertive militarily, Putin's issues about NATO have grown more strong. Putin has repeatedly called on the specter of American ballistic missiles and combat forces in Ukraine. Putin has also claimed that Ukraine and Belarus are main parts of Russia historically as well as culturally. Putin holds considerable sway over Belarus and has talked about unification with Russia that has gone on for years. The East-West relations became worse in 2014 when mass protests in Ukraine forced out a president closely partnered with Putin and Russia, then invaded and annexed Crimea. Putin has intentions to rewind the clock for more than 30 years by establishing a Russian-dominated security zone resembling the power Moscow wielded in the Soviet days. Now, after all these years, Putin wants to draw Ukraine back into Russia. It is not clear how willing Putin is to do this by force if the cost to Russia is high and whether or not Putin would be content with a Ukraine that is part of the country but at the same time is apart. Russia presented NATO and the US in December with written demands that it said were needed to ensure its security. Foremost among them is a guarantee that Ukraine would never join NATO, and that NATO draws down its forces in the Eastern European countries that have already entered, and that the 2015 ceasefire in Ukraine be implemented. Moscow's aggression take has also worsened Ukrainian nationalism, with citizen militias preparing for a drawn-out guerrilla campaign in the event of Russian occupation. Putin's timing could also be directed to the transition from Donald Trump, who was a friend to him and disparaging of NATO, to President Biden and is committed to the alliance. He might also want to energize nationalists by focusing on a threat. Putin has crushed the domestic challenges to his authority. Still, last year, with the economy stumbling and the pandemic raging, opposition groups held some of the largest anti-Putin protests in years. Europe is at stake at whether they can allow Putin to upend the security structure that helped in keeping peace since World War II. Moreover, with Europeans divided over how to respond to Russia's aggression, the conflict has also laid bare the fractures within NATO and the EU. With the departure of Chancellor Angela Merkel, who grew up in the East and had developed a good working relationship with Putin, Europe lost an invaluable conversationalist with Moscow. Olaf Scholz, her successor, has been criticized for not taking a prominent role in the crisis. Europe has essential trade ties with Russia and would stand to lose far more than the United States from sanctions set after the invasion of Ukraine. It's also dependent on Russian gas supplies, which is a weakness that Putin has exploited in his past disputes. What is your take on this? Get involved and let us know in the comments section down below what you think about today's video. If you liked this video and found it informative, then be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, if you do not want to miss out on any new future videos like these, then be sure to click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification under this video so that you're notified the next time we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you have a great day today, and we'll see you in the next video.